Welcome everyone to the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. I'm your host, Michael Pickering. That's right, Lo-Fi as in low fidelity, low quality, in-your-face, messy as can be global news show. Here we're going to talk about that famous question, what's going on in the world today? It's Thursday, Lo-Fi Nation. Let's get it. Coming at us from the world section of the Associated Press, Ecuador to pick new president amid deepening economic crisis. That's right, today we start with a news story, that of the South American country of Ecuador. The country's been suffering from economic recession, and on Sunday, this Sunday, they go to elect a new president to hopefully enact some change. What's more is that there are 10 people running for president, and most of them are funding their campaigns through the federal government's presidential election fund, which lots of countries have this kind of program, maybe even the one you're in. But they also have a runoff system in Ecuador, meaning if none of the 10 receive 50% plus one, then the top 2 candidates will face off in a runoff, set for April 11th if it's needed. We're going to start following this story and delve into it more, of what's going down in Ecuador. Next up, source, the U.S. and Canada section of the BBC. New start. U.S. and Russia extend nuclear treaty. Now this is a final update and close to a story we've been following. We talked about how Russia had signed off on it and passed the extension of the nuclear treaty between them and the U.S. But we said was the word from the U.S. But now the U.S. has signed on for the extension as well. And this article is interesting for a lot of different reasons, as well as brief. But they also have a graph of the estimated global nuclear warhead arsenal. Pretty interesting, check it out. And a special lo-fi pop quiz for you out there of the extra credit nature of it all. How many estimated nuclear warheads does Russia and the U.S. have? Hit me with it, people, you know what to do. Now moving forward, because we never move on from anything, especially this next story. Source, the world of Reuters. Myanmar junta blocks Facebook to shut down dissent as West increases pressure. Well, I'll keep this update short and sweet because the article itself isn't anything new except for this, really. So the military says all the troublemakers in the country right now that don't like a military coup, for instance, are using Facebook to mobilize. So the military blocked Facebook until February 7, and there you have it. And yes, a country can, in fact, single out any particular website and completely block it from their internet. Now you know. And our following story comes from the AP World section. Haiti opens debate on proposed constitutional changes. Haiti, my friend, always good news when we see you in the news, and it's not about a natural disaster, but rather the possibility for positive change. Let's dig in. This country's going to have a constitutional referendum on April 25th to try and help out the political unrest in the country and the economic recession that's been around for years. So I'm just going to hit you with some of these changes real quick, for any of you out there thinking about how one might construct a perfect government or something like that. Here's what Haiti's proposing. Changing that a president can't serve 2 consecutive terms to allow for it. Changing that you have to live in the country for 5 years straight before running for president to something vague. We're not quite sure, but it seems like they're going to get rid of that. Changing the legislature from a bicameral legislature to a unicameral legislature. And changing the prime minister to a vice president. And now creating compulsory 2-year military service once you turn 18 years old. Now all week long and moving forward, they're going to be announcing even more proposed changes. Check it out for Rio. This is a country completely reshaping the way that it rolls. And heads up, Chile is doing the same thing. Check them out as well. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day, the Indian section of the BBC. Farmers protest. Rihanna tweets, angers Indian government. Now, I just thought this was an interesting story to run with as an update to everything going on in India with the farmers' protest that we've been talking about lately. Now, the movement's gone international. And Rihanna, well, she's stepping up for the farmers. That's all I'm going to say about this one, really, but rather I want to pose a question to you out there to close out the show today. How do you feel about celebrities being international activists? Write in and let me know your thoughts. And that's a brief snapshot of what's going on in the world today. Stay tuned for tomorrow's episode of Good News Friday. Always remember, Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, wash those hands, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Lofi Poli Sci podcast. Pickering, signing off.